Hey everyone, Jason here from Off the Beaten Path, and welcome to another video in the Variety Trip series. So I did manage to scrape together some footage. This is a video of our exit from the Flinders Ranges after the battery issue occurred. So as you can see there, we're heading south down the Bunyeroo tourist drive through Bunyeroo Gorge. I hope that's how you pronounce it. Somebody will surely tell me if it's not. Yeah, as you saw at the end of the last video, we packed up camp. The weather was getting a bit wild, and as you can see, the dark clouds have sort of closed in. So yeah, just to sort of try and see as much of the Flinders Ranges as we could, even though we now had to leave and head towards Hawker with hopes of getting a replacement battery for the Bunyeroo. We opted to take this tourist drive. It really wasn't any longer than taking any other road, and we'd driven the other two ways out, so decided to head out. And as you can see, it starts off as a pretty easy two-wheel drive road, and in fact it's a main tourist road, so it's all pretty easy two-wheel drive. There is a distinct part that is the Bunyeroo Gorge, but prior to that you're in this valley, again just with some amazing scenery. A little bit of a shorter video today, guys. I've been pretty busy work-wise the last week or two, so struggled to get editing time in, but still thought this was well worth sharing. We do get a bit of rain, so the camera lens ends up a little bit cloudy at times, but yeah, if you're heading to the Flinders Ranges, I definitely recommend this drive. As I said in the last video, we certainly would have liked to have been able to take the time to stop and enjoy some of the walks, particularly around the main gorge area. There's a number of walks, there's a lot of campsites along here, and more trees than we've seen just about anywhere else in the Flinders Ranges. You can see there the road's looking like it's been a little bit soft, bit of a clay base, and we were just starting to see a few spits of rain that you can sort of see on the camera there and hitting the car. The weather was definitely looking like closing in. Certainly made us glad that we decided to pack up camp. And yeah, the scenery here wasn't quite as visible, better than what you can see on camera, but you can see how close together all these hills are, and what you can't see, I guess, on this camera view is to either side of the track too much, but you could definitely see, looking out the car windows, there's a little stream down to the left hand side there running along. There's one of the picnic and camping areas, and you can see the main valley and range opening up ahead of us as we're heading south here. As I said, apologies for the water on the camera lens there. A lot of the footage that we did actually take on this trip, I wasn't able to really use on this from this section because it just was not that visible with the rain. Another parking area and some walking tracks there on the right. And at this point we're actually coming up to the main Bunyeroo Gorge, which was quite scenic. The camera, as always, doesn't really do it justice. You can see the rocks are right there. It's reasonably steep gorge, and well worth checking out. I can imagine that the walking tracks here, and they head off on both sides, would have some really good scenery, well worth checking out. Now I'm pretty sure I recall reading that there's a bit of a history here with coaches coming through the area being ambushed in this gorge. I just can't recall where I might have read that. But yeah, this particular section of track here was probably the most interesting along here. You're right up close to the gorge. The track undulates a little bit, and look, this is certainly something you could bring your two-wheel drive car along. You could tow a van through here without any issues whatsoever at all. At this point we were still hoping that we'd get to Hawker, get a car battery and possibly come back to the Flinders, but as those of you that have been following this series probably know, that wasn't to be. So when we got to Hawker, they had the garage there has a really good stash of things like batteries and tyres for car. They had the right size battery, but the posts were on the other side, so the leads just wouldn't fit, and as it turns out the battery wasn't the issue anyway. We just thought it was, so we did end up pushing on back to Port Augusta later today, and looking into our options from there. Not particularly steep or difficult, any of this, and there's a couple of good lookout spots as well, that again the weather on this particular day didn't do it justice, and you can see how fast that weather's moving. So all up, this tourist drive's about a 30-kilometre drive, and you can see the skies sort of moved from grey to clear and back to grey again. Yeah, this is one of the main lookouts that, even with the weather the way it was on this particular day, it was still well worth pulling up and having a quick look. Quite a nice run here along a bit of a ridge line with great views out both sides, and you can see the edge of that weather there with the dark grey clouds on the left and the nice blue sky on the right. So it really was moving across quite quickly. I think you could easily take the best part of a day doing this tourist drive, stopping at the various lookouts and walking tracks, and just spending a little bit more time. Given that we're driving a car with a battery light on, it wasn't the time for us to be doing that. All up, this tourist drive's about 30 kilometres, so you can certainly do it, you know, in about 30-40 minutes, which is about how long it took us. But yeah, stopping and checking things out along the way, yeah, I think there's plenty to look at, plenty of walking tracks to investigate, well worth checking out. Got the most water on the camera lens there with the bluest sky, and yeah, this is coming to the end of the tourist drive here, where we get back to the bitumen to head into Hawker. So we pulled up here and aired up, and as you can see from that sky, the rain had well and truly set in by this point. So from here into Hawker it was about 20 k's, maybe 30 k's I think. So yeah, just quickly aired up the tyres and then headed in towards Hawker, hoping to get a replacement battery. Quite a nice little drive into Hawker, and yeah, left this footage in because check out that rainbow. There's actually a double rainbow there. And that's just as we're coming into the town of Hawker. Great little spot for supplies, fuel, and as a bit of a base, there's a caravan park there as well. At least I thought that was as we're coming into Hawker. So yeah, no, as I was saying with Hawker, great little place to operate as a base. There's a caravan park up here on the left, and plenty of people park their vans in there and do day trips up into the ranges. And I will mention the Flinders Food Company. We stopped there a few times. Great food, great coffee, great people. Really looked after us on some cold, wet days when we were, wondering what we're going to do about the car. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.